But anyway, Doug is joining us from Calgary, his home base, and he's a well-known landscape and figurative artist. They're both known for his bold colors, and if you get a chance, check out his website. It's got some very beautiful paintings. His paintings can also be found in a number of galleries in Western Canada and the US, including Gallery 421 in Kelowna. Last year, Doug did a color theory demo for us. I didn't see it myself, but I heard good things about it. And tonight he's doing a demo on figurative painting. So with that, I'll turn it over to Doug.
All right. Woo.
Hey.
All right. Just got to grab a couple more things, talk amongst yourselves, and then I will start. So just give me like one more minute here, and we're gonna get rolling. Okay, so up in the corner, you can see the figure that I'm gonna paint. And I'm just gonna put a little bit of a wash on this canvas to start. I put just some pure thinner on there because it opens up the pores on the canvas and allows the paint to sit in a little better.
Wow.
What did you say you're putting on there?
It's just thinner Gamsol.
Oh, okay, got it.
So I just put a wash on this canvas because the acrylic gesso that's on there is very dry, and it tends to want to repel the paint a little bit. Until you get some paint on there, it doesn't want to work as well. So I put a little bit of thinner on there, and it absorbs in and opens up the pores of the canvas and allows the paint to sit on there a little nicer. You get a better, quicker brush mark with it. All right, so what I'm going to do, this is more of what I'd say is rather than like, doing like a real solid figure, which I do, this is more of gesture painting here. So this is more immediate. This is what I do at life drawing or warm-ups or practice, just to kind of stay loose and get a funky little painting rather than try to get something a little more realistic and take a long time. This is a little bit more fun. So all right, so I always start with the darks. It's easier to lighten the dark than it is to darken a light.
We are all still here.
All right.
We're all just politely muted, but feel free, people, to ask questions of Doug.
Yeah, feel free to ask any questions you want.
Doug, you did that drawing in pencil, right?
I did so. just a little bit of, just a regular, it's a 4B pencil. How about that?
Do you always do a sketch and pencil first, or do you ever use paint?
Oh, so I draw with paint too sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is that an umber you're using?
This is a combination of pyro maroon and ultramarine blue.
Mm.
It's I like this pyro maroon because if you make a dark, you can make a dark warm color with it. If you use alizarin, it turns to purple, and this doesn't turn purple.
Okay.
It stays warm, so if I want to have a warm dark in here, it works really nice.
So Doug, is that quite wet, that paint that you're starting to thin?
I'm using thinner. I haven't put anything in it yet. Hang on. So it's got a bit of glare on it, but it's like about the consistency of sour cream,
Okay.
right? And so I'm a puddle painter. So I draw most of my colors all out of the same puddle so that they all get a bit of harmony in them.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll take this color now, and if I add some orange, little orange, and a little bit of quinacridone rose and yellow ochre to it, I'll get a nice skin tone here. But it's coming out of the same puddle. So all of these colors that I start putting on here and here, right? They all have the same DNA in them.
Mm.
Right? So
what were those colors, Doug? You used orange?
So for my base skin tone is quinacridone rose, cad orange, and yellow ochre. So I start with that puddle, and then I'll tint it from there, depending on the light that's on the figure, depending on their skin tone, if they're lighter, fair, if they're, got more of a California skin color or Latino colors. You can tint it from there, but that's really my base color.
Mm.
And I draw off of that base.
So that was quin, yellow ochre, and cad
Quin
orange?
rose, yeah, cad orange, and yellow ochre, which I'll show you here. Hang on, let me get a little doodad for you. Hang on. Oh, I have one down here. So that skin tone, that's my base skin tone right there.
Okay,
So
great.
that's quinacridone rose, cad orange, and yellow ochre. So that's not my shadow color, but this will be the skin tone that I'm putting on, which I'm drawing right out of. I'm drawing that right out of my what do I want? Oh no, I didn't want that. Hey, what's that doing in there? That's what I want. So there you can see it's kind of glary. I got to get my lights fixed down here. They're not set up for this yet, but I've drawn that out of the same puddle of color right there. So this base skin tone now, when I'll put it on, this isn't the highlight, but this is This is some of the lighter, and I see actually now when I look at it, I go, well, yeah, there's my metric, my baseline, but I see it's got a little more yellow in it. So I'm gonna throw a little cad yellow deep in there, which will lighten it, and that will give me my light that belongs right there.
Can you just, it was pyro maroon and something else for your shadow. That's
So the
where you-
shadow color was pyro maroon and ultramarine blue.
Oh, that's right. Thank
And
you.
it works in acrylic too. If you buy golden maroon, it's transparent as well, and it works really well.
So this you're not doing from your same puddle? Doesn't look like
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, basically. Well, I'm putting a little green on there now because I see a little bit of green in this. So I'm putting a little bit of green in there. But yeah, you can see down in the corner, I'm still in that orange puddle, but I've mixed the green right in there. And I'm throwing a little bit of green in there, and they kind of all intermingle so that they all have a little bit of each other in there. And you can see I just don't have enough paint to make that green sort of pop, so I'm mixing up some more.
Doug, can we see your reference photo
Yep.
again?
That's better.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thanks.
Yeah, but the
So was that Viridian green, Doug?
No, this is manganese blue and cad yellow deep. And then I just put a dot, I put just a dot of red in it just to kick it back a notch so it's not so nuclear.
okay, thanks.
So I see a little bit of green right down in there. So you just put a little of that reflected green, looks good on there, and a little bit right there too. Yeah, on the screen, it doesn't show up quite as green as it is on in the actual painting. I think my lights down here are they're too nuclear.
Are you trying to avoid blending them too much when you're?
No, I am totally blending. I'm actually flicking a lot right now. But see, okay, so when I'm on raw canvas like this here, I just use thinner. If I go to paint, when I go over top of paint, I've got to put some medium in my paint so it'll carry over top. The more
Mhm.
medium I put in my paint, the more it will blend over top, and I can paint wet into wet. If I don't get my paint fat enough, it won't ride over top. So you've got to start adding medium and less thinner, but you got to start thin in the beginning or it's never going to work.
But are you using a pretty light touch when you're?
Oh no, I'm slamming it on like, well, you're not even allowed to say this anymore, but I'm beating on this painting like it's my child. Can't say that. Can't say that anymore. And then my kids all laugh and go, oh yeah, because you beat us, whatever. I never did. My kids, they frightened me. I'd be afraid to hit them. They're bigger than me. No, I put a fair amount of paint on there.
And what do you use for your medium, Doug?
I use liquid. I like it because it's a little thicker. So it seems to give me my my consistency a little quicker. Almost any medium will work, but I just like it because it gives me it just gives me immediate results. I don't have to worry about getting it right every time. So you'll see here, like I don't know if you can see that, but I have a huge blob of paint on there, right? And when it starts to get this thick, I'll show you this too. I don't know if you can see this, but so down here when I'm mixing, so I'm actually rolling my brush and it squeezes the paint out of it. So I get a big blob of paint like that right there. I don't know if you can, where's my camera? Oh, I'm on palette. Getting the right camera, but I have a huge blob of paint. So I'm squeezing the paint out of the brush and then I'm picking it back up again. But then I get enough paint on there that I can put a big light patch on there and it'll ride over top. So the trick now is when I do
Okay.
this, so I'll put a big light blob right there. But now I've picked up that undercolor that's there. So I have to tap off. If I don't tap off, I'm gonna mix this color in and it's gonna get muddy on me.
So what blue is that?
That's manganese blue with just a little tiny bit of ultramarine in it.
And so you started that background now, Doug, just to sort of redefine your edge there, or?
Yeah, and give the form the figure a little more form, but I want to lose some edges. So to lose an edge, I'm going to take this real light bit here and I'm going to redefine that, but I just take that and flick it right out. I let it fly right out. Even here, up on the shoulder right here, I can take that and let it come right out. So I want to incorporate the background in right so that they merge. These two are the same value. They're not a different value. They're the same value. So you can't really tell where one ends and one begins.
Mm.
And that way your figure starts to look a little more like it's part of the background, evolving from the background.
Are you just wiping that brush when you, or are you actually cleaning?
Right now I am, yeah. If I switch between warm and cool colors, I will dip it in the thinner and I'll clean it off. But if I'm staying where my values are close, then I don't actually wipe. I just wipe it off.
I'm glad you did that, Doug. I didn't think she'd want to have a Kardashian rear end.
So you went in with the darks and then you went in with the lights and now you're going back in with the darks?
Yeah, I'm putting in, so I start with the dark, but I'm really, what I'm putting in now is what's called an accent dark. It's darker than the main dark. So it's what makes your reflected lights pop. If you get some accent darks in there, that's what'll make your reflected lights really pop. So you get a dark in here, right? We'll make this little bit of, I'll just accentuate a little because you can barely see it, but you get a reflected light that's happening inside of there, right? It's this super dark that'll make that happen. That's why it's always good to keep reserve. Don't go as dark as you can right out of the gate. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Well, there, that was fun. All right, hang on. We're gonna do two. All right, hang on, and then you look and you do this. Whoops, that's not supposed to come on. You need to stay with me. Thank you very much.
What size brush were you using there, Doug?
I used two brushes. I used a 6 and a 10. All right. Anyway, so I got lots of lost edges out here. You know, you can always redefine them. You can play with them till for whenever. And I usually what I do is I just play with them just long enough to ruin them. I always say, you know, God, I liked it 10 minutes ago. What am I doing? There, I'll send one of you guys, whoever emailed me the link, I forget who emailed me the link. The colors in here aren't as good as the colors. Like, it's weird. It's got a little bit of glare to it. I don't know if I can pull this forward a little bit. Or not. That's a little better. It's got a lot of glare. It's a lot warmer in the reel, but I'll send you guys and then you can post it. Anyways, I can't fart with it. Let's do another one. We're gonna do another one real fast.
Sure, you can send me an image of the finished, you know, of that painting. I'll send it out with the link when we post the recording.
Perfect.
So Doug, you're always pulling from the same pool of paint, eh?
I am. So if you look at my palette,
You're always adding to it, and
you can see it's all those colors are touching. So my base skin tone came out of here. I switched to the green. And then when I went to the purple to match the green, I want them the same value. So I put them right next to each other so I can tell what value they are.
okay.
Right? So as long as, I don't care if they touch. And as a matter of fact, for the most part, when I mix my colors on my palette, I don't mix them purely together. I leave them about 90% mixed. So there's about a 10% little bit of everything still left. So if I'm mixing blue and yellow to make green, I'll get green, but there's traces of pure blue and pure yellow left. It's kind of called broken color, but it makes your color sing a little better if you leave it not so mixed pure all the time.
Okay.
Should have had another board ready to go, but I didn't think about that. But anyways, it's ready to go now, so. It's crooked though. That's gonna drive me crazy. Hang on. That'll drive me crazy. I'm not OCD, but I'm not crazy either.
And if you can switch us back to your other,
I will, yeah, hang on. Get this little bit off this one. Yeah, you don't need to be seeing that. You gotta give me a sec because I'm gonna switch the image too. There we go. Oh, why is that other one still on there? That's weird. Anyways, it doesn't matter. All right. All right, so what am I gonna do first? Start with the dark. Oh, I gotta clean this off. That's kind of a hideous mess.
So are you using all the same colors as last time?
You
That's-
bet.
Okay,
Well, I started with the maroon. All I've done is I've taken that maroon color that I put in here. That's a dark reddy color.
Yeah.
And I put cad yellow deep in it.
Oh, okay, that's good.
There.
Thank you. Close the door for me.
But
So out of that same dark puddle and the yellow puddle, I'm just gonna mix my skin tone. And we'll start applying some mid-tones to the skin tone.
Doug, do you pick any particular area as a focal point in the painting beforehand or at any point while you're painting it?
Usually during the painting, I'll pick something that needs a little, needs a little oomph or a little, a little push, or I want something to stand out, or I'll force a gesture, like I'll push an angle, or I'll throw in some kind of weird color. If none of that works, I'll pick something that isn't in the painting and throw it in. So for the most part, I start out and stay true to sort of what I see. And then near the end, then I funkify it and kind of, once I get it all, so my values are all established and I like what I've got value wise and color wise, then I can play with it after that. But I try to get it a little, you know, even though it's funky and wacky, I do like to be somewhat accurate.
Doug, do you like these sort of contorted postures? The
I
girl,
do, because they're not boring.
she looks awkward.
Yeah, my models hate me. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but I don't make them stay long. I got this girl. She does yoga, so she doesn't mind so much. But I just take photos. I mean, I paint from life a lot, but I don't do poses like this from life. So this girl, she doesn't mind. I think this girl could stand on her hands for 5 minutes. Like, she's in incredibly good shape, and she's older too. Like, I mean, you know, not old, but like, she's pushing 40 and she can still stand on her hands. Like, that's crazy. So if I flick, but every time I gotta wipe off my brush in between. It was probably the hardest thing I had to learn. It's like one of those, I don't know, I don't golf anymore, because I remember years ago when I tried to golf and I spent all that money and I realized I'd never make money at it, and I could spend more time at the easel, I might be able to make money at it. But they'd make you practice these shots over and over and over again. And this wiping off in between is very much like that. If you don't do it, you get mud all the time when you try to put paint on. Wow, you can't even see that. That bottom. I don't know if you can see it, but it's very green, but you can't see it really. I gotta figure out how to move these lights back, I think. They work great on my canvas, but this camera, and actually it's funny, in the daytime, this camera picks up, it's perfect. But as soon as nighttime comes, it seems to not be able to pick up the color as good, but I got this crazy big window beside me that lets in a lot of light. Anyways, I'll send you pictures.
What kind of camera are you using, Doug?
This is just a Logitech Brio. I have two of them. They're not what I'd call super fancy or anything.
Well, they certainly get the job done.
Maybe you just need a warmer light bulb or something.
Yeah, well, I've got warm and cool in here, but I think I need more ambient light, right? I think they're pointing towards the easel. I did turn my easel a little bit because I did a Mastrius demo the other night and I had the same problem. So I'm not sure yet. I haven't got that figured out. I need my son. He's the genius guy. He does all this. So he's Mr. Smarty Pants. He needs to come over and help me.
Doug, when you're doing your landscapes, how does this painting technique lend itself to that type of painting?
Oh, I got to tell you, since I started doing more figures and kind of just blasting it in, blocking it in like this, my mountains are so much better. Like I paint way faster and more gestural and with more brush strokes, and I'm not so tight and worried that each mountain looks, each rock looks the same. It loosened me up, really loosened me up. And then I found too, not only with the mountains, but trees especially, finding the gesture in the trees and the quirkiness of each tree. Instead of just painting a generic tree, you find the gesture in it and the lean to it, and it sure made your painting more interesting. And my edges got better because I wasn't so worried about it. And then the funny thing about that is too, it sort of loosened up my mountains for me, which I found easier to do. But I found too that all the colors that I see in a mountain all the time, I started putting in the figure because I started seeing them in the figure. And I was like, oh yeah, there's that mountain blue. Oh, there's that icy color. And so they kind of worked hand in hand. Let's put a little red on the end of the hand and it looks a little more believable down there. Wow, she's got kind of football shoulders, eh? Holy. Oh, maybe she's gonna play for the Super Bowl this week. That's okay by me.
That bit of yellow looks great. Well, at least it looks sort of yellow from here, but it's
It is, it's super yellow. Yeah, it's a little glary, hey? Sorry, guys. I'm gonna solve that this week, I guess.
There, do that one.
All right.
So you did once you're basically done, you went in with the dark darks and then the highlights.
That's right, exactly.
And now you're sort of adding some detail.
I'm just embellishing a little bit with some of the colors that I see floating around in there. So I got a little bit of blue and a little bit of turquoise. It's pretty hard to see on there. Well, yeah, you can see a little bit of that blue, and I just sort of throw some funky other colors in there just to, liven it up a little bit. I see some colors in there, so if I see a color, it probably belongs somewhere. I mean, it doesn't have to necessarily go where you see it, but if you see it and it works, then if you see it and it's in the painting, then it's probably going to work somewhere. And I just see a little bit of that green there, so I'm just going to throw just a touch of this green in there. But yeah, it worked. Maybe I'm picking it up from the tape on the side. That's funny. I like the green. All right, I'm almost finished. What time is it? I have no idea. They don't keep a clock down here. Who wants to know what time it is when you're painting? Nobody.
It's, well, 10 after 8.
Right.
Yeah, our time.
Oh, right. 10 after 9 in Alberta.
I don't know. It's kind of funky. Messy in the background, eh? Let's play with that. Needs a bit of an exit point or something out of there, right? It's kind of two-dimensional. I can't get out of there. How am I going to do that? Let's need some kind of white space back there, I think. So if that goes that way, let's try that. It needs to be darker.
Can you talk about your thinking right there?
Yeah, I'm like to stay, like you got to have some way to get out of here. And that against that isn't working. I like that turquoise though. So, if my head's better, maybe we need it dark back there. Fine, be like that. I'm gonna put a dark in there.
So Doug, why did you feel you were stuck there and you needed to get out?
Because it's two-dimensional, right? I don't have enough foreground in the front to take you out, bring you in to say foreground, middle ground, background. This is all reading as one, and this is reading as sort of middle ground or background, but there's either no middle ground or no background in there.
Gotcha, thanks.
Can't be angry.
Oh, he did it all in.
That looks cool.
right?
I need you to fix her knee though, Doug. It's bugging me.
Oh, yeah, I keep forgetting. I said that earlier to myself. I'm like, well, you got to go back there and fix. You haven't painted that yet. I've only blocked it in.
Thank you.
Ah, you're right. That's where I take them upstairs and stick them on the mantle, and I go, oh my God, I forgot to paint the leg. Whoa. Ooh, it's getting slick now and getting too much paint on there. It does have a breaking point where you can't get any more paint on there. And it does, even though you try, it starts to smudge.
How much do you vary your palette between a drawing like this and a mountain scene?
I used to, but I don't anymore. And it's mostly because I used to put more reds on my palette. But when I switched from alizarin crimson to quinacridone rose, if you mix quinacridone rose and cad orange together, you get basically pure red or naphthol red. So that sort of was, for me, I don't need to switch colors anymore. I used to put way more sort of skin tones on there. And I don't really anymore. It's all the same colors. I only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I only use 9 colors. Couple more marks. Couple more marks. Green. Oh yeah, too much paint. It's getting too greasy now. It's just starting to smear around.
But it's still a pleasure to watch you do this, Doug. It's just beautiful. All that juicy paint.
So I keep seeing this dark line down the back of her arms. It's going down. And
All
you're
through here.
leaving that, no, down lower. So, but you just have left that alone the whole time.
This
Just
thing?
wondering- No, down
other
the
arm.
other arm. But maybe it's just how I see it. The other arm, the one that's down
Oh,
low.
there, yeah, there's more of a, I know, I sort of fooled around with that at one point, but
Well, I just wondered why, like what you're, because it's interesting. I would have found that one.
a couple more marks and we're done.
So can you talk about the choice of that red? Because I would have thought that would have drawn it forward, not pushed it back.
It's because it's dark. Red reads as dark. So it's a
Okay.
very, and also pure color, like high chroma color reads darker than it looks. It always looks bright and then the tricks the brain and the brain says, oh, that's bright, so it therefore must be light. But it's not. If you took a picture of this in black and white, you'd see that mark is very dark.
Okay.
So it's reading as darker than anything else. So it's probably something further back then.
Gotcha.
I don't know. And it's kind of a slashy, I don't know. Looks kind of cool. It reads way more bluer on your screen, I think, than it is here. It's a lot red.
No, it's just fun to hear how your brain got.
I don't know. Yeah, sometimes I don't know how my brain gets there either. I sometimes wish it would get there more often, and then other times I wish it would shut up. Makes bad choices sometimes too, so. Whoops. I don't want to vote here.
Ooh, I don't like that red.
Anyways, I better leave it alone. I'm starting to fart around now, right?
Yeah.
20% underdone is better than 2% overworked.
Oh, see, I love that last little touch of red, of your maroony red.
All right, that's it, folks.
That's great. Thank
Yeah,
you.
no, that's good, Doug. I did notice when you cast a shadow with your arm, the colors popped a lot more. So that light is really
Oh yeah, look at that. Hey, thanks for that. Hey, that's a
Yeah,
thing.
that's true.
Wow, that's interesting. That's like that's kind of super cool to know. Maybe that's the thing, right? Maybe a
Yeah.
guy needs to build a box.
yeah.
Can't see it though.
I think,
Little
I
bit
think,
dark,
some-
but that's a little closer though.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think sometimes we think more light is better than less light, but sometimes it's actually, we sometimes have too much light.
You do, you know what? So that's what I found is I had very expensive medical lights for a long time, thinking, oh, better light, 5,400 kelvins. You got to have, north light. But you don't ever show your paintings in north light. I take them upstairs and they die. And I go, I got like regular old, household lights upstairs. And so the thing would die upstairs. And I had too good light down here. I still think I have too good light. I want worse light. And for what it's worth, I'm pretty sure Rembrandt didn't have very good light and he seemed to do okay. So maybe
Exactly.
worse light is going to be better. Anyways, whatever. I'll take a couple of pictures of these and I'll email them to you.
Yep, that'd be
Great.
great.
Thanks very
Great.
much.
That's great. Thanks, Doug.
Thank you.